Countdown to kickoff continues, and it's time for our weekly conversation with pride of the Jaguars running back, Fred Taylor. It's week 11, and the Jaguars are trying to get off the deck after a blowout loss to the 49ers last week. And the only way to do that, Fred, is to move straight ahead to the Tennessee Titans. How are you?
JP, I am great, man. And I think they will move ahead. Just to get right into it, this is a game that we all look forward to. And I'm pretty sure these guys are feeling the exact same way right now. They don't want to lose two in a row, as they did, I believe, earlier in the season when we lost two in a row, when they lost two in a row. So they're going to have to try to avoid that sort of action. But these Titans aren't as complicated as the Titans of the past. They have a rookie quarterback. They still have their superstar running back in Derrick Henry. He's not having a Derrick Henry monster-like season, but he's still capable, so you can't go to sleep on that. So, I mean, the Jaguars just got to handle the Jaguars. I said I believe in the pregame show with myself and Brian, Game Day Live, the Jaguars just got to worry about themselves. It was always the Jaguars. It's going to always ever be the Jaguars. If you look at the game last week, I want to say, of course, San Fran did some stuff they executed at a high level, but a lot of that also came because the Jaguars were asleep at the wheel to start the game, and they kind of got themselves in the hole they couldn't get out of and eventually lost. So if they can avoid that sort of start this week, they'll be fine.
Fred, Doug Peterson, at least in his time in Jacksonville, has twice been able to get the team back on track after blowout losses. The game in Detroit last year, of course, they finished with 5 straight wins to end the regular season. They had to come back in a bunch of those, but they got it done. Of course, this year, after one of the games you referenced against Houston, they go 5 games and win all 5 of those in 5 stadiums. I'm not predicting anything here, but it's something about his leadership style, right? And how he can refocus a team and get them to respond. And maybe that's internal with the players too. You want to put on your best performance after showing an embarrassing outing last time.
Oh, without a doubt. I don't know what it is with Doug, but he's an amazing person. I can say that first and foremost. And that carries a lot of weight in the locker room. Guys trusting and believe in him. And then his track record. He's a champion. He has a statue. For Christ's sake, he has a statue. But more than that, he's been in it. He never seems to panic. He's always calm. His demeanor. And I believe when you look at the trend, as you mentioned, that after blowouts, they're able to move in tranches of five. And it will be really nice to get 5 straight now because they have 5 AFC opponents and all of those tiebreakers and different things come into play. And I mean, I could take 5 in a row from here, JP. And I believe the players, they're going to respond. They're going to go out there because it's a crucial time of the year. Teams will start to separate themselves. If you look out, the Monday night game, and you're looking at the Denver Broncos versus Buffalo Bills. Here you have a team that was like 3-5, I believe, versus a team that was 5-4. And you go, well, I went. I'm like, well, 5-4, 3-5. That's not a big margin at this point in the season. So teams are going to start to really show their identity and separate themselves. And if Jacksonville wants to be one of those teams that we all think they can be, now is the time. Now is the time to move. Now is the time to stay focused or refocus and start piling up these wins and just being more disciplined, more focused, and more urgent. You got to play with a better sense of urgency.
Fred Taylor with us, and that's on offense, especially for this Jaguars team, Fred. There's been the talk this week of, Doug Peterson talked about, hey, we just need to throw some shots down the field a little bit more. If we need to get more vertical, let's try some. And it does feel like at times it's quick passing, it's get it out fast, and even Arden Key on the other side saying, hey, yeah, and San Francisco said it last week going into the game. Yeah, it's everybody's jumping routes because they're not going to go deep, and they haven't been able to do that a lot. So how do you change that idea? Is it just throw it up and spread them out a little bit? I mean, how do you begin to change that idea on offense?
JP, throwing it up, it's the classic 50-50 ball. In NFL, a pass interference is just as good as a deep catch. Going back a week ago, we had a couple calls against their guys, San Fran's guys, whereas I think it was Kelvin Ridley. He drew 2 pass interference calls, and we were able to move the sticks. And as a player, I can tell you this, whether it's a 50-yard run, although I do like 50-yard touchdowns, if we're moving the ball down the field to put ourselves in position to score, I'm all for it. I love when we call, audible to a zero or just call a fade route straight out the gate, because you also have check with me's. Whereas if the coverage doesn't, or if the coverage isn't in your favor, excuse me, then you have an opportunity to check out of the play. And I'm pretty sure at this point of Doug's and Trevor's relationship, and they trust one another. He gives Trevor full range to go out there and change the play if need be. So I think you take shots. I think that'll excite the defense. Just go deep, and that'll excite the offense. I know it'll incite the people. I'm going crazy. I'm excited. It'll excite the people in the stands when they do connect. But yeah, take those shots. They don't hurt you. Calculated shots, obviously. Maybe even start the game out with a deep ball, but make sure it's very close to the sideline, just outside the red line. For people who don't know what the red line is, it's 5 yards from the sideline. It has to be outside over the shoulder of the receiver to give him the best opportunity to catch it and minimize the chance for turnover. Education 101. But yeah, take those shots.
That red line is actually painted on the practice field, so
Yes.
not on the game field. So that's why it's called the red line. Fred Taylor with us, Fred, the Jaguars running back. You know what the Tennessee Titans are going to be with Mike Vrabel as the head coach. They're going to try to just punch you, and they're going to run the ball with Derrick Henry. And yes, they have a rookie quarterback. There are some changes in the organization. There's a new GM and all that, but they still have Henry. And Henry's still putting up some numbers. May not be the astronomical rushing numbers that we've seen in the past from, but he's still right there near the top of the league. Has he changed in time and is now, getting a little bit older in the NFL? Can you see any change in Derrick Henry?
That's just one of those things that follows the running back position. Obviously, yes, age is undefeated. Father Time is undefeated. In that position, it seems that he expedites his scoring record. I think Derrick is still a high caliber running back. He can certainly get the job done. And when you understand the running back position, you can bottle me up for 12 plays. All it takes is one. I can have 12 yards on 12 carries, and that 13th carry can be an 88-yarder. Now I got 13 for 100, and a touchdown or so. So, I mean, he's patient. He's not having the highlight type runs that we're used to seeing with the ferocious stiff arm and trucking people. Teams are learning how to defend him better. It took him a while to figure it out, but they are kind of catching up with him, but he's still dangerous. You're not going to go to sleep. And luckily for the Jaguars, they are doing very good against the run. Even a week ago versus a Christian McCaffrey, one of the top 3 backs in the entire NFL, they still did a pretty stout job with him. But yeah, you have to finish through your tackles, take him down, hopefully create some turnovers. And Levis, I think if you minimize the running back, then you have an opportunity to, play strong in the box and jump some routes versus a young rookie quarterback. Send some calculated blitzes after him as well and try to minimize their deep ball opportunities. But when they do throw it, you have to be ready.
Got to be ready. Are you feeling good about this matchup, Fred?
I feel better about this matchup now than I have in the past. Somehow, with the threat of Derrick Henry and the fact that the Titans really, really had our number for, quite a few years, it was like, but, the optimism in the former player in me, and the fact that I absolutely despise the Tennessee Titans, I felt in my heart, we're going to win. We're going to play hard. We're going to win. Even though I might have not have always believed it, I was like, I got to try to find some energy to kind of help these guys get close to the win. But now I think that's a bit different. I don't look at them like I look at the Texans. The Texans are tricky because somehow they kind of slither into a win for the most part. But this Titans team, I don't think they could beat this Jaguars team. I think this team is much better than the teams of the past. I think they're a bit more consistent, even though they've shown some kinks in their armor. But I do like this team a lot more than I've liked some of the teams in the past.
Let's hope it carries over. AFC South games this week and next, and then 3 straight in the AFC North. If the Jaguars are going to be a playoff team and a division champion, well, we're about to find out. And we'll talk to you next week, Fred.
Always looking forward, JP.